on Facebook. In 1, 2. Hi, Lorianne. Good morning. Good morning. Astro says thank you. It was still dark, and he came in yowling his head off this morning. And it was funny. I would normally look at the clock, and this voice said, "Don't look at the clock, because then you won't go back to sleep." And I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because normally I look at the clock and I'm trying to determine whether my mind thinks I've had enough sleep. So I didn't look at the clock, and I laid back down, and I was a little wired from, the care and feeding the kitty. And instead, I called upon the angel of sleep to fall back to sleep, and it was absolutely beautiful. So I went to sleep at 10:30 last night and woke up at 8 o'clock. And gosh, did I need that sleep. It felt wonderful. So it's interesting. I'm kind of like tricking my mind that way. Anyway, it's good. So let's see who's here this morning. Good morning. Hi, Kimmy. Hi, Jorg. Thank you for the love, Lorianne. You're adorable. Yeah, sleep is a really good thing. Sleep is a really good thing. Astro's got a new little cat bed, a cat, and he loves this thing. It's this cute little bed, and it's made of cardboard. And he loves to sit in this little thing. Here he is in the den, and I put it on the yoga mat to give it some extra padding so it doesn't move around. Because if I have it on the hardwood floors, it goes all over the place. Anyway, I do love that kitty cat. Anyway, let us get to the lesson. My holy self abides in you, God's Son. It's so true. I use the people in my life as barometers of how I'm doing in relationship to my soul, in relationship to my heart, and in relationship to my ego. And if I find myself really triggered, really angry, really sad, really fearful, and then that gets projected onto whoever the person is, I immediately take that into healing for myself. That's just one of the ways that I found to operate so that I can always come back to love. Marianne Williamson wrote that beautiful book, Return to Love. And I really think that that's what it's all about. So let's see what this lesson holds for us today. Lesson 266, my holy self abides in you, God's Son. Father, you gave me all your sons to be my saviors and my counselors in sight, the bearers of your holy voice to me. In them you are reflected, and in them does Christ look back upon me from myself. Let not your Son forget your holy name. Let not your Son forget his holy source. Let not your Son forget his name is yours. This day we enter into paradise, calling upon God's name and on our own, acknowledging ourselves in each of us, united in the holy love of God. How many saviors God has given us. How can we lose the way to him when he has filled the world with those who point to him and give us the sight to look on them? Years ago, my Kabbalah teacher, David, said to me, know that every voice that speaks to you is the voice of God. So when someone has a criticism, when someone has anything to say, I always welcome it. I think that's why it was funny. I was just talking with someone the other day saying that my basic tenet in life is love as a function of communication. And James, who was my partner that started the Soma Life Sanctuary with me 5 years ago, I said, if I got one tattoo, do you know what it would be? And he goes, yeah, of course. Love is a function of communication. And I think it's so important. So I listen to what people have to say as the voice of God speaking to me. And I'm so committed to always being in communication with the people that I love and to using anything that triggers me as an activation to bring me closer to love and to heal aspects of the ego. So I love this lesson. My holy self abides in you, God's Son. All right, I'm going to bring Magdalene forth, see what she has to say about all this. Greetings, beloved ones. Beloveds, from a certain perspective, you live within a hall of mirrors, much like a mirror ball. There is a soul energy, a source energy that exists within, and then there are reflections or refractions of aspects of ego that are projected then onto simultaneous lifetimes and existences and experiences through different relationships. You are always being called back to your primary and fundamental relationship with Source, with God, with the Goddess. You are being shown aspects of self that do indeed need the healing of receiving love. So every time that you find yourself critical in a certain circumstance, judgmental of yourself or another, wishing that something was a different way than it was, look to the underlying cause. Look to the place where you have relinquished the knowing and the understanding that everything is perfection, that there is graciousness and goodness and purity. Look to the places where you have forgotten to have gratitude for all that you have, knowing that you are being led back to the place that you truly have never left, except through your mind. You have chosen to believe that you are elsewhere. Your consciousness always remains with that of God. You are always within the kingdom, but your mind has created this vast imagination of saying that you belong to different dimensions and different echelons. And all of this, beloveds, is for you to experience and come back to the wholeness and to the oneness, to the certainty within the quietude that you are where you have always been, and that is at home with those of us who love you. We ask you to remember, we ask you to bring yourselves to bear, to see that every moment of your existence has a choice between love and whatever it is that you have created that is not love. And you have a choice, beloveds, always to say, I choose to see love instead of this. I choose to see perfection. I choose to be grateful. I choose to see something holy rather than what I have depicted to be something that is wrong, something that should be different. Look within, beloveds, to understand why you find yourself critical of yourself or any circumstance or any situation. The criticism will point you to a place within where you believe that there is something that should not be. How could there possibly be anything that should not be? You judge something and you say, this should be different. This person should not say these things. This person should not do these things. This is painful. This is cruel. And all the while, beloveds, you have designed this entire circumstance. So Anna Grace has recently been able to reconcile herself with a beingness, with a presence that she considered to be an enemy, a very ancient enemy. And she then allowed herself to understand that she had chosen this circumstance to learn one of the most profound lessons of forgiveness. And the forgiveness was the forgiveness of self for having created it, the forgiveness of the other whom she believed had wronged her. It was one of the priestesses, one of the ascended masters. And in this forgiveness, beloveds, she found her way back to the truth. It has unleashed an entire echelon of miracles in her life and an appreciation of her incarnations during her Egyptian period. This freedom, this releasing, has been one of the most profound experiences of her life, and it has filtered into every relationship that she has. Use this as an example, beloveds, to allow yourself to look for the relationships where you have harbored grievances and upsets for a very ancient period of what you consider time. Face the things that anger you, face your fears, and you will find freedom and you will find love. Use the beings that have been placed in your life and understand that they have been placed there as markers to help you on your pathway back to God, back to the sense of Godhood. Whether you pray to a god or a goddess, it matters not, beloveds. Ultimately, you are praying to remember your own God self, releasing yourself from the ego that holds the fear, and instead allowing yourself to live within the realms of love, to choose love first in all things. Beloveds, you will come to understand that every thought you think has created your world. And you will become very cautious of that which you think, so that you think with love. Bring your consciousness, bring your mind to this understanding, and allow yourself to be very cognizant of that which you think. For what you think, you create. Blessings to you, beloveds. Love one another and know that any being you believe is outside of you is truly an aspect of self. This will free you to love all beings. Know that I love you. Know that you are loved so deeply, so widely, and so broadly. Blessings to you, beloveds. I will speak with you again. Hi, guys. Oh, you're so cute. You're very, very welcome. Very, very welcome. Mwah. Love to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Jill. Hi, Marianne. Banky. See you guys again tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us.